Welcome back to another episode of the Fritts Show. It's me. I'm watching the rankings revealed live. This is the last one before the last one, aka the penultimate playoff rankings. We're jumping right into it. They're revealing them. It's live for me, not live for you. Here we go. Number 25, we have the Memphis Tigers. Impressive win last week against Tulane. Army right above them. Don't hate it. Army's playing Tulane in the AAC championship game. They're not that none of these teams have a playoff shot here. So we're gonna squeeze by these guys. Not much to say. Colorado, Syracuse, right there as well. Big win against Miami this past weekend. Shook the college football world and the landscape that we'll get into. What the top 12 is going to be, what the top 15 is going to look like with that Alabama, South Carolina, Miami, Ole Miss conundrum. What is that going to look like? Illinois right there at number 21 as well. Not much to say about these teams. Their season in the college football playoff terms is over. Next one up, UNLV at 20. Now, here's a team that their season, they could still be in the college football playoff. Now, they play Boise State this weekend in the Mountain West Conference Championship game. We'll preview it after the rankings, after this reveal is over and my thoughts are out there. So that's the second half of the video. We're going to preview that. Right above them is Missouri, but back to UNLV. They're a team, sneaky team. They go to Boise State for the Mountain West Championship game. Watch out for that. They win, they're in. And you're thinking, Ian, they're number 20. There's no way they're in. That's how the playoffs work, folks. That is how the playoffs work, folks. BYU right above Missouri. Clemson at number 17, down 5 spots after a very close loss to South Carolina. I'm amazed that Clemson dropped that far, 5 whole spots after basically a last-second touchdown for Lenora Sellers. Absolutely mind-blowing. And then that is honestly kind of crazy to me. I got to sneeze. Hold on. First time, I think that's the first time I've ever sneezed in one of these videos. That's kind of impressive. Iowa State's right above Clemson, but that Clemson slide signifies that they may try to slip SMU out of this thing wherever SMU is. If SMU loses to Clemson, they may try to drop them out, folks. Watch out for that. Watch out for that. If you drop Clemson 5 spots, how far is SMU going to slide? We don't know where they're at, but I would assume if they drop Clemson that far, they could drop SMU that far. Right above them, we've got Arizona State Sun Devils at number 15. Look, Arizona State, similar to Iowa State, the winner, that's in. You're getting one Big 12 in this thing. Not sure what it's going to look like, but you're getting one Big 12 in. You'll see who I pick in that game later on. South Carolina, boom. South Carolina, the Gamecocks at number 14, folks. I mean, the writing was on the wall. The writing was on the wall with the betting lines, all of that. South Carolina was never getting in. They lost to Ole Miss and Alabama, who are going to be ahead of the boom. Ole Miss right above them are the Ole Miss Rebels. Look, Ole Miss has the head-to-head. The committee kind of values that sometimes not. It depends on how they're feeling that day. Ole Miss, but now it's going to be interesting to see who's above Ole Miss. Is it going to be Alabama or is it going to be Miami? And here we go. Boom. Miami, the Hurricanes. Okay, so right now, that means that Miami would be the first team out, and after this, we'll have a bracket to my left here showing what the playoff bracket would actually look like. And you know, there's 12 teams in the playoff, and some of you out there still don't know how this works, and that's okay. It's confusing. It makes no sense. We'll talk about that. Miami's 12. So you're thinking, oh, okay, they're safe, Ian. They're safe. No chance they can get kicked out of this thing, right? Wrong. You have Big 12 behind them, and also, if UNLV wins, or Clemson wins, you would think SMU, who's going to be above Alabama, who's at 11. Alabama is above Miami. So Alabama potentially, if everything goes according to plan ahead of them, they would be the last team in this college football playoff. Absolutely wild to say and to think about. Here we go. Boise State at number 10. Boise State could have a top 4 seed in the college football playoff. This is a world that we would never thought we would live in. I never thought this would happen. I never thought I would see a G5 team have a bye in the college football playoffs. Never thought that would happen, but it's happening right before our eyes unless the UNLV Rebels do it in Boise, Idaho this weekend. We will see. Indiana Hoosiers, they did what they needed to do all year. You lose your one game against Ohio State, no big deal because they obliterated literally everybody else they played. Fine with them at number 9. They're going to have a tough first-round bye, I would think, once we get the situation with the graphic up We'll talk about those first round games later. SMU at number 8. The Ponies. Look, so I talked about it earlier. SMU at number 8. They slid Clemson 5 spots for a close loss against South Carolina, who they think is a good team. What are they going to do with SMU if they lose to Clemson? You would think they wouldn't be penalized outside the top 12 for a title game. You would think. But we don't know what the committee would do because they don't think. They don't think and they do who knows what. And who knows what in that room? Nobody knows. I don't know. You don't know. We all want to complain. And I get it. Tennessee at 7. Ohio. So that means Ohio State's going to be number 6. Yes, Ohio State is number 6, folks. Okay. So that's huge because those are going to be likely be the 8 and 9 seeds, I believe, if I'm doing my math off the dome correctly. I could be wrong, but we'll see. That would mean Ohio State would host Tennessee. That's huge. That is huge because those two places are tough to play, and you want that home playoff game. You do not want to have to go on the road for a playoff game. Probably going to be some of the best atmospheres we've ever seen in college football. Here we go. Top 5. Yeah, Georgia. Look, you have an 8 overtime loss or whatever. Yeah, it was 8 overtimes. I honestly can't believe that's even a real thing that I'm saying that out loud. 8 overtimes. You beat Georgia Tech. You move up 2 spots in the college football playoff rankings. And that's what happens, folks, when an Ohio State loses to a Michigan and when a Miami loses to a Syracuse. That's what happens. Notre Dame Fighting Irish at number 4. Fighting Irish. Penn State at 3. You're going to have Texas at 2 and Oregon at 1. A couple top 5 matchups in conference championship games. That's awesome. However, only 2 of those teams are going to get a first round bye. Look, they just need to change the format. It needs to be changed. It needs to be what the rankings are after that conference champ weekend. And I would assume this is future. Maybe this has nothing to do with this year. I would assume that after those rankings, after the conference championship week, you wouldn't penalize a team for making this conference championship game. You would only reward them. So, for example, like Penn State, if they lose to Oregon, this is future talk here. If we move away from the auto buy situation, Penn State wouldn't drop further than 3 if they lost, unless a Georgia annihilates a Texas. But then Texas probably shouldn't drop more than a 4. You would think. I'm not sure how it would work, but the auto buy system is a nightmare. Okay, so we're gonna jump over to me talking about this playoff bracket scenario, folks. Okay. Here's the projected bracket to my left here. You got Oregon with a bye, Texas with a bye, SMU with a bye, Boise State with a bye. Okay, that 5 seed, Penn State, Nittany Lions. That's a good spot to be if you're a Penn State fan. That is a good spot to be. You're going to have Arizona Wildcats, Arizona State Sun Devils come to your place, cold, frigid day in Penn State, Happy Valley. Not going to be a fun place to play for maybe the nicest climate in the world in Arizona sometimes. So that's not going to be fun. However, Cam Skattebo, good running back, tough to tackle. I like that matchup. Would be a fun one. Ohio State, Tennessee, I'm all over that. Love that football game. That atmosphere would be unmatched. Georgia, Indiana, another one. However, the best first round game is obviously Notre Dame Fighting Irish in Alabama. That would be the game I'm all over. That would be the one that if I choose to go to one of these games, it would be that game. I don't have the money to do that, but I would choose to go to that one. However, we would have a couple of rematches if some teams win in this projected bracket. Don't love that. However, we just need to change. This makes no sense. Okay. You got Georgia, a top 5 team, but they're the 7 seed. You got Ohio State, 6, but they're actually back to 8 because you're having SMU and Boise State, 2 horses, jump up there in the top 4 because of this auto buy situation. We got to get rid of it, folks. I talked about this in the offseason. I said this is a disaster. It needs to be changed. It needs to be fixed. And luckily, we only have 2 years of this system. I still think it's better than 4. I love 12. In this year more than ever, I think all 12 of these teams have a chance. We may end up with Georgia, Alabama if the bracket shakes out that way. If it ends up that way. I don't know. We may end up that way, and I'm okay with that. But having a seat at the table actually means that you may get a chance to eat. If you never go to the table, you can't eat anything. That's my soliloquy or speech about that. This is the projected playoff bracket. We're going to jump to me doing my predictions and picks for conference championship week. Here we go, folks. Okay. Penn State, Oregon, Minus 3.5 for the Oregon Ducks. You see the record next to me here, folks. 152, 104, and 1 this year. Stellar year for the picks in the Ian Fritts show. Just an absolute crazy year. We only had 2 losing weeks so far this year. Now we're not picking as many games this week, so in my mind that means we could have a losing week because I like to pick volume. However, I only pick top 25 teams, and these are the only top 25 games on the radar, folks. Okay, Penn State, Oregon. Look, the gut is pretty strong on this one, folks. It's not hard to imagine who you think I'm gonna pick in this one. Look, it's the Oregon Ducks, and it's Oregon minus 3.5 all day, every day. Look, Penn State, they got a nice team. They got a nice quarterback. I like their uniforms. They're classic. You're not beating the Oregon Ducks. You're not beating Dylan Gabriel. You're not beating Dan Lanning. Have you seen these hype videos with Dan Lanning against Washington? I just saw this the other day. It was today. Uh, they got a Washington Huskies football helmet. They set it on the ground, and they started hitting it with a sledgehammer, just beating this helmet in. You think that would get you fired up? That would get me fired up? I'm ready to roll right now, coach. Put me in, Dan Lanning. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go. Now, I would get obliterated, so I'm not ready to go. But that would fire me up. I'm fired up right now. I'm fired up right now. Probably shouldn't be wearing this sweater. If you want one of these, let me know. I don't make them, but I can figure out the store that we got it at. Oregon minus 3.5 is the pick. I can't wait to watch this one. I think it's going to be fun stylistically, but the gut's telling me Oregon minus 3.5 all day. Next one up, Clemson Tigers versus the SMU Fighting Ponies of Southern Methodist University down there in Dallas. Minus 2.5 for the Ponies. The gut was pretty clear on this one right away. Look, Cade Klubnik, Dabo Swinney. I like them. I like them. However, the offense has concerned me. Both of these teams are probably a little unproven, haven't beat any top 25 teams, don't have super stellar wins. However, Clemson, a couple losses that you're thinking, what are we doing, Clemson? What are we doing? What are you doing, Clemson? Is this really who you are? And unfortunately, I think it is. And that Pitt game still sticks in my mind a little bit. They didn't lose it, but it was close. SMU, they look good, folks. They look good. Jennings, stellar quarterback. Rhett Lashley, I was thinking in my mind, I was like, man, he's going to be open for some huge Power 4 jobs. Ian, you dum-dum. He's at a Power 4 job with a lot of money there in Dallas, okay? He's got a nice, cushy job there for SMU. The gut's telling me, take the Ponies, take them minus 2.5 all day. Give me SMU. They were a dark horse for me in the preseason if you watch my videos. We were all over SMU. Texas, minus 2.5 versus the Georgia Bulldogs. Look, Arch Manning had a touchdown against Texas A&M last week. I think he has another touchdown this weekend against Georgia. If you remember, Quinn Ewers got benched in the first Texas-Georgia matchup. They had Arch go in there. He gave him something. They didn't score with him in there, but he gave him a little, okay, all right, Quinn, you need to step up on your game in the second half to get us back in this football game. And it worked a little bit. And then, the fans started throwing stuff on the fields and threatening officials' lives and who knows what. And that got Texas a little bit back in the game. But regardless, since then, Texas has looked like a better football team than Georgia. Georgia has had about 35 different close calls. Carson Beck has thrown about 750 interceptions to about 3 touchdowns. They don't look like the same team. Kirby Smart's doing who knows what. He's calling out players for celebrating with fans and family afterwards, but when they drive 3,000 miles per hour into a bunch of people, he doesn't give a crap about it. That's my soliloquy spiel about Kirby Smart. Texas minus 2.5 is the play here, folks. Texas minus 2. Look, normally I like to go with a lot of underdogs. I do. The first 3 picks here, boom, we're taking the favorite. And that's just what the gut's telling me. The gut, look, it's giving me 152 minus 104. That's a good record, folks. That is a good record. Trust it. Trust the gut. And I think, some people out there think, Ian, when I trust my gut, it doesn't go well. Yeah, because your gut stinks. And look, it's tough love here at the Ian Fritts Show. I'm not here to butter you up and say, you go with your gut. Little Jimmy, you can figure it out. You can do it. You can't do it, little Jimmy. You cannot do it. I can. I'm a professional. Listen to me. UNLV versus Boise State, minus 4 for the Broncos. Fun facts about the Mountain West Championship game. You're thinking, Ian, there are no fun facts about Mountain West Championship game. Wrong. There are. They played this on campus. This is at Boise State. That could be a factor. And I'm saying that could be a factor. That is going to be a factor in this football game. UNLV, you know where they're located? Las Vegas. You know what the temperature is in Las Vegas right about now? Let me look at my watch. I don't have a watch on, but it's saying 75 and sunny. You know what it is in Boise State? Let me look at my other watch. It's 32 and snowing. I don't know if that's real. I don't know if either of those are real, but you get the point. Boise's a lot colder than it is in Las Vegas. However, the gut's telling me that UNLV, Ricky Williams, wide receiver, Ricky White, wide receiver, excuse me, Ricky Williams, old Texas running back, forgive me. UNLV is going to put up some points in this game. I love the Rebels plus the 4 here. The first game, extremely close. Boise State pulled away late in that one. I love UNLV. I love UNLV. Last game on the slate, Iowa State versus Arizona State, -2 for the Sun Devils. This is probably, I would think, this game, and I think UNLV Boise State are going to be the two that come down to the wire, and they're going to be the two closest games this weekend. I could be wrong, but that's what the gut's telling me. Iowa State, Rocco Becht, I trust him more than a lot of the quarterbacks that Arizona State has faced up until this point. Arizona State also is down one of their main wide receivers in this football game. However, the gut doesn't know any of that information because it's a gut, okay? However, the gut gets you wins. The gut makes you money, and you stick with it. You stick with it. Even when it was rough for 1 week, where we were 7 games below 500. Only happened once this year. I said, Ian, you cannot change your ways. Do not change your ways. The preceding 3 weeks, 12 and 7, 12 and 7, 12 and 7. Listen to your gut, ladies and gentlemen. And by your gut, I mean my gut, because you were listening to the Ian Fritts Show. Thank you so much for watching. We will have recaps of this conference championship week this weekend. We will have recaps of the college football playoff preview bracket. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe down below. Like this video. Send it to someone else. We love you guys. Bye.
Whoa, he has trouble with the snap, and the ball is free. It's picked up by Michigan State's Jalen Watts Jackson, and he scores on the last play of the game.
35, 40, 45, 50, 40.